Okay, the second event in sexual reproduction is fertilization. It is the most vital event in sexual reproduction. It is the most vital event in sexual reproduction. What is fertilization? The process of fusion of male gamete with female gamete is known as fertilization. So the process in which the male gamete is going to fuse with the female gamete is known as fertilization. It is the most vital event in sexual reproduction. Due to the fusion of male gamete with the female gamete, which result in the formation of diploid zygote. It results in the formation of diploid zygote. It is also referred as syngamy. It is also referred as syngamy. Another synonymous term. Fertilization is the fusion of male and female gamete. Syngamy more particularly refers to the fusion of nuclei of the gamete. The nucleus which are there, the male gamete and female gamete nuclei which are there, these will be fused. So, the fusion of male and female nuclei of the gamete is more particularly referred as syngamy. So, it results in the formation of diploid zygote. Where does this fertilization occur? What is the site of fertilization? Depending upon the site of fertilization, where does it occur? We have mainly two types of fertilization. One is external fertilization and another one internal fertilization. Pre-fertilization events can be asked for 3 marks, that you remember, especially gametogenesis. Gamete transfer can be asked for 2 marks. Fertilization can be asked for 2 marks. We have external fertilization, internal fertilization. The syngamy, the fusion of male and female gamete or fertilization which occur outside the body of organism. The fertilization or syngamy which occur outside the body of organism, preferably in the surrounding media, water. In the external media, that is water. That kind of fertilization is known as external fertilization. So, the syngamy that occur outside the body of organism in the external media, that is in water, that is called as external fertilization. Remember. So, in case of external fertilization here, the organisms which exhibit external fertilization, they show great synchrony in sexes. The organisms which exhibit external fertilization, they show great synchrony in sexes and release large number of gametes into what? To enhance the chance of syngamy or fertilization. To increase the chances of fusion of male gamete with female gamete, large number of male gametes can be released into the surrounding water media. So there the fertilization can occur. with respect to the number of the female gametes produced, the number of the male gametes will be in thousands, large number, so that at least one or two male gametes successfully can fuse with the female gamete in water, leading to the formation of zygote. In case of external fertilization, you can see in algae, then in fishes, then in amphibians. In these examples, you can see external fertilization. The offsprings which are produced, offsprings are extremely vulnerable. Offsprings are extremely vulnerable to the predators, threatening their survival up to adulthood. This is the major disadvantage of external fertilization. The young one or offsprings which are produced in what you call surrounding media in water, there they are exposed to the predator, larger animals, larger organisms. These organisms, larger organisms, predators feed on these young ones as a food. So, offsprings are extremely vulnerable to predators, threatening their survival up to adulthood. See, when offsprings are eaten by these predators, then offsprings will not develop into adult individuals in the water body. So that is the major disadvantage of external fertilization. Another disadvantage, a large number of the male gametes can be wasted. As the fusion of male gamete with female gamete is a chance factor, that's why thousands of male gametes can be produced and released into the water. So unnecessarily there will be wastage of large number of the pollen grains, these male gametes. Moving on to internal fertilization. Syngamy that occurs inside the body of organism. The fusion of male and female gamete occur inside the body of organism is known as internal fertilization. This internal fertilization is seen in some of the terrestrial organisms. Terrestrial organisms like some of the fungi, animals like reptiles, aves, mammals. Then we have plants, Bryophyta, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. In them we can see internal fertilization. So the organisms which are showing internal fertilization, usually their male gamete is motile. Female gamete, that is the egg or ovum, usually non-motile. Large number of the male gametes or sperms can be produced, and these sperms can reach the egg and result into fertilization process. Especially here, more number of the sperms or male gametes can be produced in comparison to the number of egg produced. So mainly to increase the chance of fertilization here, more number of male gametes can be produced or sperms can be released, which can fuse with the egg, resulting into fertilization. So there will be substantial decrease in the number of the egg produced, considerable decrease in the number of the egg produced with respect to the number of the male gamete or sperm released or produced. So more number of the sperms will be released as compared to the number of the egg produced. This result or this increase more chance of fertilization. In seeded plants like gymnosperms and angiosperm, spermatophytes. So here, pollen grain will be the carrier of male gametes. As already I have told, pollen grain after pollination reaches the stigma of the flower. Then this pollen grain will germinate and form the pollen tube. This pollen tube will be the carrier of male gamete in spermatophyte in seeded plants. Whereas in case of bryophytes and pterophytes, you know that their male gametes are motile, water is required. Male gamete which is produced in mainly what you call antheridium. Yeah. In these two examples you have, okay. In antheridium, the male gamete antherozoid or spermatozoa is produced, and in orchigonium there is presence of egg. So in water, the male gamete will move, and the organic acids which are secreted by the orchigonium can attract, chemotaxis movement will be there, that attract the male gamete, and then there will be fusion of male and female gametes. So the sperms which are motilia, water is required, but fertilization is internal. So fertilization occur inside the orchigonium in these example. Whereas here gymnosperm and angiosperm, we know that there is ovule. Ovule contain the embryo sac or female gametophyte. In that there is egg. So the pollen grain usually produce the pollen tube carrying the male gamete. Then this pollen tube can enter the ovule, release the male gamete. Then there will be fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete. So that is how inside the body of the plant, inside the body of what you call the female reproductive structure, there will be fertilization. So here usually, especially in case of animals, when there is internal fertilization, these predators cannot attack the young ones. The young ones are not freely exposed to the predators as they are developed inside the female body. So they are well protected. Here offspring, young ones are very well protected in case of internal fertilization as compared to external fertilization. So this is about the fertilization event which can lead to the formation of diploid zygote. So you remember external fertilization and internal fertilization. And the last event which is there now in sexual reproduction, mainly we have, that is the post-fertilization event. So there is one example which is given in NCERT, with respect to cladophora. Cladophora produce homogametes. So how these homogametes come in physical contact with each other, resulting in fertilization and formation of new individual. The gametes are homogametes, morphological identical. So these gametes are brought near to each other. They have come in physical contact with each other. Fertilization. Then now you can see now. This is the formation of zygote. This is the formation of zygote. Then finally we are going to get new individual, a young one. So this is gametic fusion in cladophora, homogametic fusion in cladophora as per NCERT. So try to remember. So as you know that in algae there is external fertilization. So fusion of male and female gamete can occur in water. So the last event what we have, post-fertilization events. The events which occur after the zygote formation or after the fertilization, such events are called as post-fertilization events. So in the post-fertilization event we have mainly one zygote formation, and second one mainly embryogenesis. One is zygote formation and another one embryogenesis. These are the two main events. Okay, in plants you have endosperm formation, then fruit formation, seed formation. So that we will come to know shortly. So first the zygote formation. In all the sexually reproducing organisms, the formation of diploid zygote is universal. The formation of diploid zygote is universal in all sexually reproducing organisms. So this zygote is a diploid cell. It is a diploid structure. It is the first cell of a new organism. It is the first cell of a new organism. In all these higher plants, in animals, including human beings, life begins from a single cell structure, that is zygote. From a single cell structure, that is zygote, a multicellular organism is developed. Zygote is a vital link between two successive generations. Vital link between two successive generations. It is usually diploid. Remember, it is mainly diploid. It is formed due to the fusion of male and female gamete. So it is a vital link between the two successive generations. Zygote ensures the continuity of the race generation after generation. Zygote ensures the continuity of the race generation after generation. The multicellular complex body of an organism is developed due to the cell division which occur in zygote. So after the formation of the zygote, further development of the zygote is determined by the type of life cycle and the environmental conditions to which the zygote is exposed. Further development of the zygote depend upon the type of the life cycle which the organism perform. Life cycles we have in plants, you know about that. Haplontic life cycle, diplontic life cycle, haplodiplontic life cycle. So, depending upon the type of the life cycle the organism perform or carry out and environmental conditions to which the zygote is exposed. In some of the algae and fungi, organisms like certain algae and fungi, this zygote, so this is the zygote, this zygote develops thick wall, the hard wall, it develops a hard wall around the zygote. In case of certain algae and fungi, this is especially during unfavorable condition. The hard thick covering around the zygote protect the zygote from unfavorable conditions. It remain dormant. It will not further develop, grow. It remain dormant. When the favorable condition comes, it germinate and produce a new individual. It germinate to produce new individual. So this is seen in some of the algae and fungi. Now, there are certain plants which perform haplontic life cycle. They perform haplontic life cycle. The life cycle in which the haploid gametophytic generation is dominant. The diploid generation is represented only by diploid zygote for a short period of time. So here, in haplontic life cycle, the zygote which is formed here, this zygote will undergo meiosis. Zygote will undergo meiotic division and result in the formation of spores which are haploid. These haploid spores, they develop into haploid individuals. The haploid spores develop into haploid individuals or haploid gametophytes. So here you are seeing zygotic meiosis. As a result, the spores which are haploid in nature, they germinate to form the individuals or the young one which are haploid in their adult stage. Now, I mentioned about other kind of life cycle. You have diplontic life cycle, which is seen mainly in spermatophytes, seeded plants like gymnosperms and angiosperms. And haplodiplontic life cycle, we can see that in case of bryophytes and pteridophytes. either in diplontic life cycle or haplodiplontic life cycle, the zygote which is formed here, this zygote undergo mitotic division. It undergo mitotic division and it result into the development of usually diploid sporophyte. Zygote develop into embryo, then embryo later on develop into sporophyte. So this is how the fate of the zygote is determined by the type of the life cycle the plant performs. The next event which occur now, that is embryogenesis. The process of development of the embryo from diploid zygote is known as embryogenesis. The process of development of embryo from diploid zygote is known as embryogenesis. So this diploid zygote will undergo a process that result in the formation of multicellular embryo. So the development of embryo from the zygote is known as embryogenesis. So during embryogenesis, this zygote will undergo two important processes. The two important processes are mainly one is cell division and another one differentiation. Remember, for 2 marks. Name the events which a zygote undergo during embryogenesis. This is a 2-mark question. So this zygote undergoes cell division. First it undergoes repeated cell division. The kind of cell division which you see here, usually mitosis. Only in few organisms, algae, which perform haplontic life cycle. Haplontic life cycle is seen in Spirogyra, Ulothrix, Chlamydomonas. So in them you can see usually haplontic life cycle. There only you can see zygotic meiosis. Normally zygote can undergo mitotic cell division, except the organisms, the plants which perform the haplontic life cycle. Keep it in mind. So here it undergo repeated cell division, mitotic division. Due to the repeated mitotic cell division, there will be increase in the number of cells of embryo. Due to the repeated mitotic division, the number of the cells will go on increasing. Large number of the new cells are produced now. Now, the cells which are produced now will undergo the next process, that is the differentiation. The cells will undergo differentiation. They attain definite shape, size and perform specific function. So there will be differentiation process. That means the new cells which are formed, they get differentiated or matured or transformed into specific tissue, organ or organ system. So the cells specialize themselves into specific tissue or organ system. So there will be formation of different parts in the plant body. See, embryo in plant, it has radicle which can form root system. It has a plumule which form shoot system. It has the embryonic axis. Then it has cotyledons which store the reserve food material. So that supply the food material to the developing embryo. So the process of development of embryo from diploid zygote is known as embryogenesis. So cell division and cell differentiation are two important processes that we see in case of embryogenesis. So there will be formation of specialized tissue, organ or organ system which are having definite shape, size, which are meant to perform specific functions here. So the development of primordial organs will be there during the embryogenesis on differentiation. So when the primordial organs are formed due to differentiation, that you call it as organogenesis or morphogenesis. So differentiation leads to morphogenesis or organogenesis, whatever you call, morphogenesis or organogenesis. So there will be formation of specific what you call organs within the plant body. So there will be formation of external structure, there will be formation of internal structure. So this process we refer it as the organogenesis or morphogenesis, that is mainly due to the differentiation of the new cells which have been arised due to this division of the zygote. So in the case of flowering plants, in case of angiosperms, what are the changes that occur? Zygote which was formed, that has developed into embryo. Zygote formation is there inside the ovule because the egg is present inside the ovule in the female gametophyte. So that leads to the development of embryo. For the nourishment of this embryo, see, embryo is very active, it is dividing and it is forming the new what you call specific organs, all that, tissues, organs, all that. So there should be nourishment. There should be nourishment for this developing embryo. So basically the nourishment can be provided either by cotyledon which store the reserve food material or another structure which is formed after fertilization. So that is endosperm. Endosperm is a triploid nutritive tissue which provides the nourishment to the developing embryo. You know, in angiosperm there is a double fertilization. One male gamete will fuse with the egg, that we call it as syngamy, and another male gamete will fuse with secondary nucleus to form triploid primary endosperm nucleus which can develop into endosperm. So it is a nutritive tissue. Now the ovary which is there, the ovary will become fruit. On ripening, on fertilization, ovary will become fruit. Then the wall of the ovary will become fruit wall. This fruit wall is known as pericarp. Fruit wall is known as pericarp. This pericarp can be dry, it can be hard, it can be dry, or pericarp can be fleshy. Okay, I will stop now. I will continue tomorrow.